So you want to make faces move when they speak. Hey guys, welcome back to TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we are back in Blender. Once again, taking a look at a bit of facial animation. You guys have been asking for facial animation for 2D and 3D, so I figure we'll knock 3D out of the park today. We're not in 2.8. We are actually in 2.9, 2.79 right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start animation. I have this line that I recorded because Prague, which is one of the characters that Blender has on their website. I'll put a link down in the description. I'm using their rig today. It's amazing rig. It's fantastic. I think it looks kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge. So I recorded this line right here.
Hate Christmas.
What I want to do is we'll get started by opening and closing his jaw first of all, because this is obviously the base of how you move your mouth. So I want to get this down first. And audio scrubbing is on right now, so we'll go ahead and turn that on. And then right when he says I hate Christmas, we'll go ahead and open his mouth right there on I. So a few frames before he says that, we want to go ahead and get his mouth open and prepared, get his mouth prepared to open rather. We'll go from the front view, by the way. We'll hit 5-1 on our numpad to kind of see a little things a little bit better. We'll go ahead and do something like that. We'll get it open just a little bit, because no one ever keeps their mouth clenched unless he's really mad. Well, he is mad, so we'll do that a little bit, yeah. Right. And in between each word, you want to close it a little bit, if not all the way. You don't want to close it all the way all the time, because you don't close your mouth 100% for every word you say. So we're just gonna close it a little bit just to mock up a little bit of closing. So, and then for Christmas, we'll open his mouth up a little bit more. Christmas. If you want to go ahead and use your own mouth, obviously, as reference, you can just do that. Just say the line and just see how your mouth moves. If you have anything on your mesh that is kind of getting in the way of your animation, like subsurf modifiers or particle systems, you can go ahead and get rid of those so your animation plays faster, so you can see what it actually looks like, because you don't want to be stuck in a place where it's lagging a little bit or anything like that.
I hate Christmas.
Alright, that looks pretty good for a base animation. It looks quite weird because his mouth is not moving with the vowels. So the vowels is usually what trips people up the most. What we're going to go ahead and do is, you've probably heard before, you know, for A, E, I, O, and U, all the different ways you move your mouth, and you kind of push your lips together, and, you know, in the center like this for you, and things like that. But that's 100% true. What I'm going to tell you to do is, just like I said before, just say the words over and over again and see what your mouth does and see what you're doing while you're doing that. So for I, you kind of spread your mouth out a little bit, you know, it gets kind of wide, but not very tall. You want to keep in mind the height and the width of your mouth at all times. Sounds kind of stupid, but it makes sense once you start animating. So we'll go ahead and I hate. For E, for on the end of I, so we'll go I. He kind of says I hate. So on E, I'm gonna move his mouth out a little bit like that. So you can see how we have a little bit better of an animation starting to form now that we have a little bit of the vowels down a little bit. What we'll go ahead and do now, since this rig has these two modifiers on the side here, we'll go ahead and reinforce some of these vowels by pushing the corners of his mouths in different directions. We'll go ahead and go through the animation. Do this for the right hand side here. I know I want to reinforce the I by pushing the sides of his mouth up like this.
I hate Christmas.
The biggest thing we need to do now is obviously his lips, because what is kind of pulling us away from believing he's speaking still is the fact that his lips are not moving in the proper manner here. And this might be a little more difficult the lower the subsurface, like I said. And for words like Christmas and I hate Christmas, I guess that's the only one in this sentence. But must, we'll go ahead and push his lips inward. Like so. Alright, so really quickly, what I've done is on these bottom two points that control his mouth here, what I've done is I've made a base keyframe that just kind of makes them sit right there. Then I've moved them kind of up right there, and then this keyframe right here, I move them back down, and then this one I kind of move them up a little bit again. Alright, so for these top ones, what I've done is almost the exact opposite. So on this base keyframe, I've just sat them right there. then they kind of go down a little bit, right? For must, because your bottom lip goes down. And then for this frame, they've gone up, and then they continue to go up to kind of follow the s up. So what we have now,
I hate Christmas. Christmas.
you can see that miss is looking much better.
Christmas.
It looks like he's actually saying must right there. So we're going to go ahead and finish this process for the rest of the words here. I want to get must out of the way because that's the biggest one. So we'll go ahead and do this for I hate and Chris. I hate Chris. I don't know who Chris is, but I hate that guy. Okay, so for the I just kind of raised the for the I kind of raised this right corner of his mouth because, like I said, once again, Scrooge wouldn't move in symmetry. No one would move in symmetry, but he really doesn't. Kind of go up right here on keyframe 5. Then it kind of falls down to kind of fade out of movement and more again into frame 22. Then it spikes upward as he says I. Then back down on 28. And now they both move up for hate. So both of these keyframes here, we push them upwards. And then they both kind of go down on frame 38 here. And they continue to go down. And now the left-hand side, our right-hand side, once again, is boosted up when he says Chris. Because I kind of want him to go Christmas. Like imagine you pushing the left-hand side of your mouth up. And then it goes back down for must. And then, of course, we did must together. All right, so we have this full animation here for the bottom half of his mouth so far.
Christmas.
For hate, I kind of moved his jaw up so his mouth closes a bit more. I think his mouth opens a bit too much when he says I, so we'll go ahead and push it down a little bit. And sometimes when you're animating, you want to go over to this in tab by hitting in, open up the side panel tab and just hit only render and just look at the animation without all the bones and extra stuff. This is a really good way of seeing what you need to do because, you know, sometimes seeing the bones, it kind of makes you think you need to do something that you don't or don't need to do something that you do. So just watch it a couple times and see what you need to fix. And since we have these two cheek controllers right here, which are pretty cool, looks like he's kind of blowing water or, you know, blowing a bunch of air out of his mouth. I think I'll use these for hate right here, so because that's a lot of air. Hate. So I wanted to have his cheeks blocked just ever so slightly. So right here we'll go ahead and hit S, sorry, to scale them right about this, just a little bit, and then just a little bit out. What I've done here, since when on the left side of his face goes up a little bit right here, right? So because your face is all connected, even if you raise the left side of your face, the right side of your face is kind of going to move in reaction to it. There's always a cause and effect. So we're going to go ahead and take the right-hand side of his mouth, and we're going to create a base keyframe right there on 6, and then on 10 we'll have it move up just ever so slightly. You can see it moves up right there. So now it kind of looks like it's moving alongside right after the left side of his face does. You can see how it kind of does that, and the best thing about this is randomization and mixing things up. So what I want to do is on all these frames, I kind of want to give them a little bit of abnormalities. So maybe I want the one side of his face to go down a little more than the other side, or the other side to go up a little more. It just gives a bit more realism and randomness to the animation. You don't always, just because you can move the controller this far over here doesn't mean you should, because then the animation is just going to go faster. It's kind of getting a little messed up, so we'll go ahead and move it about right there. And then for this, we don't have to go all the way over there. We can just do something like that. All right, everybody. I've animated the rest of Scrooge Prog. And this is what it looks like at the current moment.
I hate Christmas. I hate Christmas.
That's it right there. That's going to be it for today's lip sync tutorial. Hope you guys learned something new about lip sync. Hope help you animate a little bit better. If you want to look at full animation, how to animate a body, an entire body. We animated a character. His name was Vincent. He's another Blender rig. I'll put that link up in the description. Go check it out right now. But yeah, for now, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. I'll see you guys next time in the next video, but until then, bye bye. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.